Finally, somebody went back to doing some smart radio about New York. John Gambling. Weekday mornings at 11 on AM970 The Answer. Call John now at 877-970-2999.
Not a good deal. We get the drugs. They get the money. The drug cartels are going wild. They cannot believe how stupid our government is.
Well, that's all you have to do if you're Donald Trump to get attention. You use language like that and body language and theatrics and everything that is Donald Trump, and it has turned into the gorilla in this GOP race for the nomination for the presidency. It has stunned a lot of people, but in a recent article, it hasn't stunned Michael Rosenblum. Michael is the president and chief executive of the consulting company Rosenblum TV. He was a founder of the New York Times TV, Current TV. He's worked in TV and the media for a long, long time. And I'm glad to have him aboard here on the John Gambling Show. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, John. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. You basically took a page in your most recent reason why Donald Trump is going to be president. You almost took a page out of Marshall McLuhan's books, that the medium is the message.
Well, the medium is the message, and Americans love their television. You know, the average American spends 5 hours a day watching TV and 8.5 hours a day staring at screens. We've been doing this for a long time, so we are television pretty much. We're a very television culture.
So what you're saying is Donald Trump, who is as television as anybody in 2015, you think that America is not only going to watch him through the television, but that he resonates sort of automatically.
Yeah, it's you know, I mean, I pretty much, I guess, like you and I and everybody else, was astonished to see his climb in the polls. When he started, we all thought he was kind of a joke and kind of funny. And now, if you look at the front page of the New York Times, the front page article says Republicans are coming to grips with the idea he's going to be the nominee. So you have to ask yourself why. He doesn't have a platform. He doesn't have a machine. He's never held office. But there's something about him that resonates with, you know, everybody in the country. And what I think it is this familiarity that we have, particularly with reality TV. We're so used to this thing, we naturally gravitate to it. We can't help ourselves.
You point out in your piece that to get good at anything, you've got to do it over and over and over again. And I think that this probably resonated with me, Michael, more than anything else, that you say that if to learn the piano, if you play the piano over and over and over again for 10,000 hours, you'll probably get pretty good at it. If you're a tennis player, you'll get pretty good at it if you play 10,000 hours of tennis. And as you point out, we have been watching on average 5 hours of television,
yes,
each and every one of us, every single day for what, 40 years?
Well, yes, and you know, by the time you get to be 30, which is a lot younger than I am or you are, you've already watched 46,000 hours of television. So the architecture of television, the DNA of television is within all of us, like a kind of a virus, even if we don't know it's there. So we naturally respond to things that we're intimately familiar with, and we are intimately familiar with television. We look at Jeb Bush, and yeah, he's terrible television, and Hillary Clinton, she's terrible. It's painful to watch them on TV. And along comes Trump, and the guy is just a great entertainer, you know. And that's what television is about. It's about entertainment. What he says is immaterial. You hear him say the craziest things. Nobody cares. He could say the craziest things tomorrow, and nobody cares. He's great entertainment, and people love him, and that's why they want to elect him. It's innate. It's something visceral. It has nothing to do with politics or platform or anything else.
You know where this conversation takes me? It takes me back to the Kennedy-Nixon debates, where, of course, that was the very first one on television.
Yep.
John Kennedy was pretty. He was slim. He didn't have a day-old beard or a shadow. And he kicked the you-know-what out of Richard Nixon.
Well, the interesting thing in that debate, John, is that the people who listened to it on radio came away convinced that Nixon had won because that was really the content. But the people who watched it on television fell in love with Kennedy because he was great television. And that's how he got elected. He understood the medium before anybody else. Donald Trump understands the medium of television better than all the other candidates put together, and that's why he skyrocketed. Was he at 41% now approval rating? It's just astonishing.
So, This is somewhat bothersome for me. I don't know.
For everyone.
I'm wondering, should we be bothered with it, or should we just sit back and relax and take it?
No, it's absolutely terrifying. But, I have I look at programs like the Kardashians, and I can't believe that the following that they get either. We have created, I'm sorry to say this, we have created an idiot culture in this country over the past 40 years because we've inundated, we're drunk on television. And television is about entertaining people. It's not about informing people. It's not about education. And the same thing that you get the Kardashians from, you get your news from, and they compete for the same ratings. So pretty soon everything is driven to the lowest common denominator, which is amusement. Neil Postman wrote a great book about this 30 years ago called Amusing Ourselves to Death, when he predicted all of this was going to happen. It's unfortunately all coming true, and it's just a terrible, terrible thing for the country.
Well, if you want to see an example of this, turn on the Today Show in the morning and watch what they have done in the course of less than 1 year.
Yeah.
They have taken what was mainstream morning television, and they have turned it into a giggle fest of the most inane stories and topics you have ever seen in your entire life.
Yep.
And their ratings are going north.
Yeah, well, that's because this is unfortunately what people want to see. The purpose of television is not to educate and inform. The purpose of television is to entertain and pull in ratings. And the dumber you get, the more people want to watch it. And in a way, John, it's one thing to give people what they want. But in another way, because we spend so many hours glued to this stupid thing, we've kind of driven down the national IQ to the point where we begin to accept these things as the norm. I think a lot of this probably began a long time ago with Kennedy, but you remember when Bill Clinton played the saxophone on Arsenio Hall and answered what kind of underwear he wore. You can't imagine Abraham Lincoln or Franklin Roosevelt doing that.
Well, Abe wasn't one of those, fun and games kind of guys either. So I'm not sure he probably none of those people would ever have been president.
No,
they would
unelectable. They were not fun. Unelectable. Today, to be elected president, you have to be fun. You have to go on, late night talk shows. You have to be able to make jokes. You have to make fun of yourself. And I don't think that Trump actually believes anything that he says. I think he's only interested in himself. But he understands how to please the crowd and get that roaring approval. And you see him. I was down in Texas the other day at, 20 or 30,000 people. For him, it's like heroin, and he understands what people want to hear, and he just keeps throwing more red meat out to them, and the more red meat he throws out, the more people like him. And the worst part of this, of course, is to go back to things like the Today Show. All these TV shows are looking for ratings, and they just put him on the air all the time. They call CNN now the Trump Network.
Yeah, well, and Fox, my God, the fact that during Greta Van Susteren the other night on Monday out in Dallas, they dismissed the host. Goodbye, you're not on any longer.
Yeah.
We're going to put Trump on for half an hour.
Yeah, this is what we've brought. We've done this to ourselves. Many people think the Roman Empire fell apart because there was lead in the water pipes and they poisoned themselves. 1,000 years from now, when historians write about the end of America, I think they'll say television was the lead in our water pipes. Without realizing it, we poisoned ourselves 5 hours a day, every single day, and we created an idiot culture.
What scares the hell out of me is the fact that Donald Trump could very well be the president of the United States.
I think he's
and
going
we
to
will
be
watching the ultimate reality show.
That's right, and people will love it. They'll eat it. Nothing would make the networks happier than to have this guy elected president, because you can imagine the ratings would go through the ceiling. And you never know what he's going to do, and it is. We've become a living reality show. We did this to ourselves, and we've done a terrible thing to ourselves. We have no one to blame but ourselves. But TV, and listen, I've been in the business for 30 years. It's like heroin, People won't stop watching, and they love their cable and they love their reality shows, and it's inevitable that politics was going to become the ultimate reality show.
So Kanye West at the MTV Video Awards a week or so ago said that 2020 he's going to run for the presidency. It's a done deal.
I think he could win. When Trump started, he said kind of as a joke, he would have Oprah as his vice president. The Trump-Oprah ticket would be a landslide, and God knows what would happen after that, but this is what people want for themselves. It's a terrible, terrible commentary on the country.
And I think it is the key to a very rapid demise.
Oh, no question. No question. It's the end. I mean, if Trump actually gets elected, believe me, I'm not a supporter of his, but I believe he is going to become the